Hello. Hey, ladies and gents. I'm here. So we got about 3 minutes. Give me a thumbs down if you can't hear me. Otherwise, you hopefully can. Okay, I'm just going to keep setting up props and all that good stuff. If you have a foam roller and a squishy ball, great, have them nearby. If not, we'll make do. Don't worry too much about it. So, okay. And, feel free to unmute yourself if you have questions at any point.
Virginia, are we mostly standing or mostly laying down?
Mostly laying down.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great question to get your.
Depends on where I put the equipment.
Yeah, to get your monitors and stuff moved around that you can see.
Foam rollers and what else, Virginia?
If you have a ball that has the squishiness to it, that would be great. If not, maybe some cushions or pillows.
I have one of these things.
No, maybe it's just some towels or the cushion. Good idea, though. One last thing would be a yoga rope or a TheraBand, too, because we're going to do quite a few leg stretches. Okay, it's 4 o'clock. Okay, if you guys are all ready, go ahead and stand on up. Kristen, just so you know, I can't see you. So if you want to turn your video on, feel free to. I'm just going to check that everyone's video is on and their sound is off. If you notice your sound on and want to mute it, go ahead and do that. Mute. Okay. As I always like to start, hip distance apart with a good old standing roll down. Your back can be against a wall if you wanted that added tactile feedback. Tuck your chin to chest and do a little hip tuck or pelvic curl, letting your arms and head drop as you come on down here. Okay, and then pause here at the bottom and bend and straighten your knees over your first and second toe a couple of times. Good. And let's go for a total of 5. So I'm going to say 2 more. And then really press into your heels, tuck your tailbone again, and then stack up on top of your hip bones there. Good. And we'll do 1 more of those. Coming on down. Really try and get some stretch into the hamstring, straight-ish with your legs if you can. And then tucking your tailbone to come back on up, really lengthening out as you stack up. Try not to flatten out the back though. Stay round. Okay, and then from here, let's just think about our feet for a few minutes. Press into your first and second toes, and then back on your heels, first and second toes. And we'll take this into circles. Many of you have seen this in my classes. First and second toes out to the pinkies, back to your heels, inside of your heels, first and second toes, pinkies, outside of the heels, inside of the heels. Just trying to make your feet warm up, get some blood flow down there, and to think of them as elastic entities versus a brick. And then reverse direction. So outside of the heels, pinky toe, first and second toe, back on down to the inside of your heels. And I'm actually kind of lifting up that part of the foot as I go through it, and then pressing it back down, just trying to get some extra muscle pieces in there. Okay, and then as long as it's safe where you are, maybe kind of squishy on a yoga mat or a carpet, let's lift up the balls of your feet and then press into the balls of your feet and then lift up the balls of your feet. So a lot of times in classes, I'll have a calf raise here, making it a little simpler today. Good. 2 more times and 1 more time. Okay. You can stay standing or sit on a stability ball. I'm gonna sit just so that the camera can see me a little better here, because I've got Zoom going over here, Instagram over there. Do a little chat if for some reason you can't see anything. Let's just start with those chin nods here. So trying to stretch out the back of my neck. And just bring that chin into your throat, trying to give yourself a double chin. Squeezing the shoulder blades together as you do that, opening up the front of your chest, okay? You can think of trying to listen to something behind you and really get your ears back there. See if you can feel some muscles getting more active in your shoulder blades. Good, okay. And then pause for me, and let's go into a side bend over to the right. Think of opening up the left side of your rib cage and really breathing into your left side here. And then coming back through middle, still using that chin nod, gently coming over to the left, opening up the right side of your rib cage here. Really breathe into that right side. And then back to middle. You'll exhale, pulse twice on over to the right. Inhale through middle, exhale, pulse twice. If you are seated, you're welcome to take that bottom hand and press it against the floor or your chair. You'll get a little bit more side stretch out of that, but it's gentle. And then as you're stretching to each side, try and keep your bicep back and framing your ears and not let your arms or your head come forward, okay? We're gonna go 1 more to each side. See if you can feel those obliques firing up, pressing you out and taller in that side bend. Okay, and then back to middle. Let's put our hands on top of our shoulders here, okay? And then a little bit of a roll forward. This is your spinal flexion. Slowly bring it back into extension, thinking of growing the spine longer and taller in each way. We shouldn't feel like we're compressing or shortening the spine in that curve, but really lengthening it out. Exhale back here, pulling the belly to spine. Inhale on forward. Exhale on back. For 2 more sets, getting those shoulder blade muscles active. This will be your last one. Good. So I'm going from extension to sitting up tall here, not bent backwards or forwards. Okay, and then I'm just going to do a couple of shoulder rolls here. I'm only going to do this direction today. I just want to open up those collarbones a bit more. Okay, nice. Okay, and then if you have the distance in your room or the health in your shoulders, you can open up your hands to the sides of the room. If you have tricky shoulders, leave your hands on top of your shoulders here. You're going to leave your hips facing forward, twist the spine on an exhale, inhale forward, and then exhale, pulse twice. That's our rhythm. Think of wringing out a dish towel here, and that's the kind of twist we're going for in our spine. And we'll do 2 more sets. I usually start on the right, it's fine if you've flipped it, and see if you can activate those oblique abdominals as you're twisting. Good, okay. And then if you have one nearby, grab your TheraBand. If not, I'll walk you through how to do it without. Those of you that know this exercise, it's the one where we work our supraspinatus. A lot of times I'll set everyone up with towels underneath their elbows. Again, under your elbows, not under your armpits. And it'll look something like this, okay, if you have those towels. And those towels are there just so your elbows don't come off the sides of your body. You don't want any kind of daylight underneath the elbows here. And then if you're not feeling any fatigue over the top of the shoulder muscles right here, tighten up your band a bit. And we'll go for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you can let go of any towels here for a minute. We're going to do a second set, but I want to rest your shoulders. Now you're going to bring your arms overhead without letting the rib cage flare. And these are called rib cage arms. It should be no rib cage arms. Okay, and then I'll pause up here and pull my band apart twice, feeling that activation between my shoulder blades. Inhale on the way up, out twice. Exhale, zip those abs together on the way down. Get that powerhouse coordinated and working. Good. Let's do 2 more sets. Nice. And 1 more set. Good. Okay. If you have the towels nearby, you can replace those. We're going for a second set of that work on the supraspinatus. And I'm going to go for a set of 15. If that burn gets going over the top of your shoulder blades, feel free to take a rest or stop. My thumbs are facing the sides of the room. Okay, I've got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Okay, the band can go to the side here. And then just bring your arms down by the sides of your body. Hopefully this is possible if you're seated. You're just going to twist that arm bone in the shoulder socket here. And then add a shoulder blade squeeze when your palms are turned to the outside of the room here. Maybe do that on an exhale, pulling your belly button to spine, feeling those muscles work in the back line of your body, getting everything fired up. So I've got work in the front and then work going on in the back line of my body. We'll go 3 and 2 and 1. Great. And then check your still in your little chin nod here. I'm going to have you guys lay down. If you have a foam roller, have it pretty nearby. If you have a squishy ball, when you lay down, you'll put this under your sacrum, okay? It's handy to have a hand towel nearby, anything that you need to prop your head so that's comfortable. You know you best, and use those different pieces. I'm gonna try and do any kind of tight chat questions. So feel free to add those in. If you're on Zoom and can just unmute yourself to ask a question, that'd be even better. A great way to get my attention. So you can see I'm just putting my foam roller between my heels here and my tush, just so it's nice and near if I need it. I'm gonna have you take a squishy ball. Not the end of the world if you don't have one. You could prop a couple of towels under here. We're just going into the pelvic clock series. And so I don't have that ball too high or else it's gonna put me in a back arch it's gonna be hard to come out of. And then if the ball's too low, you just really can't find the exercise. So trust yourself to know where that is. Can you guys see me okay? Okay, good. All right, so I'm just gonna start with tucking my tailbone towards my nose and then taking my pelvis away from my face and back and forth here. So I'm exaggerating my low back curve and then lengthening it and straightening it out. If you have any kind of low back issue and pain, you don't want to take this to the point of pain. You're just trying to get nice and loose here in a healthy range of motion for your body. Okay, and then let's take it right and left. So I've got the front wall of my abs active, found where my right and left hip bone is. I'm taking my right up to the ceiling and my left to the floor, and then I switch. For me, the image of a seesaw or a teeter-totter works well, that one side goes up, one side goes down. And then I'm trying to create the movement with those abs in between my hip bones and maybe a little higher up. I'm not trying to create it from those QL back muscles. If they turn on, just notice it. Don't be too critical. Now I'm going to take one hip bone up towards my rib cage, send the other side away straight, nice and stretched, and then take your time on the other side there. So activation in one side of our obliques, stretch in the other, and then back and forth for 4 or 5 times. Since this is Sunday stretch, really marinate in these different pieces. Try to find where your body needs that support. Okay. Next, I'm going to go into my pelvic circle. I just love that image of having a round plate on my lower stomach between my belly button and the crest of my pelvis. And then I'm going to roll a marble around that plate. Good. And then if you slow down, you can make a bigger range of motion. And the idea is to find where it's slightly uncomfortable, where it's tight, and where you don't have such great coordination. And as the workouts go on over weeks and months, that you get better at this and not just rush through those uncoordinated pieces, okay? Notice if you're able to coordinate this through your abs, or if your back muscles kick in, we want to stretch those back muscles out. Let's switch directions here. Again, go slow where you're tempted to rush and get through it. I'm really using my feet and my heels to press in at different points. Okay, and then an add-on here, that if you've taken a class with Robin Carlson, she's really good at cueing. And I'm sending my tailbone even lower to the floor. For me, it's healthy to go into such a big low back curve. And you can really find where that arches past neutral spine. And then taking the tailbone a little higher, that's more neutral and imprinted. So it's a bigger range of motion here with the squishy ball. You may be able to find this with some towels, but know that that's available. Okay, so coming out of our pelvic curls, let's just do a little bit of work here in this lying down position. I'm gonna lift up off my ball. Sorry guys, this is ringing. Okay, and then I'm gonna take it into bridges here. So I still have that foam roller here, and now I'm gonna put the ball between my knees, press into my palms, lifting and lowering so I get the muscles firing that I want to support this stretch session, and just all the good stuff that I should be using throughout the day. I'm not articulating through the spine yet. I'm landing tailbone first. But when I come down, I check that I haven't popped my ribs on up, okay? And then to emphasize that piece of knitting together the bottom of the ribs, not letting them flare, I'm gonna bring my arms overhead, trying to keep the ribs organized. And then as my palms come down, press them into the mat, lift into that bridge. Let's do that together 6 more times. Hands go overhead, not letting that rib cage flare, and lift. Good. As my arms go down through the air, this is when I exhale. As they come up, I'm inhaling here. I'm not too concerned with the perfect breathing pattern. Just want you guys to keep breathing. If you switch what I'm doing, no big deal, okay? And 2 more. This last one, I'm gonna pause in my bridge here. If you have something to squeeze between your knees, keep doing that and take it into typewriters. Typewriters are when I mark where my hip bones are in space and I send them horizontally left and right. I don't let the hip bones rise and fall or hip dip, okay? It's an endeavor. It's not trying to find perfection, but just going through the process of coordinating the back of our legs and stretching out and activating those obliques. Let's go 2 more sets. I can tell I'm having trouble keeping out of my low back today. Do your own check of that. Maybe you need to come lower down in that bridge. And then I'll pause here. Now, mobility or articulated style. Going down slowly, 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 1 vertebrae at a time. Okay. I'm gonna hug my knees to chest just 1 time here. Check on my low back. It's a nice little test if you've been stretching the back out, if you've been using it, and then take that feedback into your bridges. If your back is feeling warmed up and healthy, go ahead and change this to articulated bridges, lifting and lowering 1 vertebrae at a time. Not doing the fancy arm work here, thinking of peeling off of that mat stretching out, lengthening between each of those vertebrae. And then as I lower, I think of a strand of pearls that I'm straightening out, getting longer as it goes down. Okay. I'm going to do one more like that and then change it up a bit. Okay. Think of your hips being inside a box here. You can't really send them left and right, but they can scoot up the sides of that box. So I'm going to lead up with my right hip bone, left comes to meet it, and then lead down with the right hip bone. Good. 3 more times. Up, always leading with that right side, leading down with the right side as well. Pausing at the top and the bottom for the left side to catch up. This is my 3rd rep. I'm going to 4. Again, it's in the process. Don't get it perfect at the expense of using the low back. Just try and lead and stretch out through the back. As I'm leading up, now I'm on my left side. This is my 1st rep on my left side. My left hamstring's doing a lot more work than the right with that left hip bone leading. So it's a bit of coordination work, balance muscle development of the right versus the left side. And working that back line of your body here. Left hamstring and glute and your abs. The right a bit, but it's really that the workhorse is your left side. This is my 3rd rep. I'm going for 4 on each side. So this will be my 4th rep here. There we go. Good. Okay, so that's about it for the bridging series. If you have a yoga bolster or the foam roller, now is the time to lift into your bridge and then put that tool underneath your sacrum here, underneath your tailbone. And you want it to be low enough that you can be in a bit of a pelvic curl, okay? If you have some couch cushions that you want to use instead, so you're up on this slight elevation, go for it. But I think you can do just fine without it if you don't have the props, okay? How are we doing there? We may have lost the Instagram feed. Hold on, guys, I'm sorry. Okay, looks like it's reconnecting again. Okay, so I'm here. The big secret here is let's bring our legs into tabletop while tucking the pelvis under. Is you don't want to arch the back or even be in neutral at any time. And I'm using my hands to hold on to my roller so it doesn't roll away. And from here, your legs can be in tabletop or straight up. And just kind of feel what that's like for a back stretch here as you bring your knees into your nose, okay? And then bring your legs a bit further out, more like 90 degrees here. Still in that tucked tailbone or cervical coccyx curl or pelvic curl is another term for all of that. Okay, from here, I'm gonna cross my right leg over my left. And these are called windshield wipers. Now I'm going to take my knees side to side, using my abs to maintain that pelvic curl. It's a long low back in that pelvic curl, left and right here. And then I'm holding onto my roller because I can feel it really wants to slide out and underneath me. Good. If it's possible to cross your legs tightly, great. If there's some low back issue and you're going into that figure 4, that's fine too, okay? All right, so let's hold this leg cross over to the right side. It should feel like an IT band stretch on the outside of your left thigh here, okay? If your foam roller is not wanting to squiggle away from you, you can bring your arms out to the sides of the room, and this is more like spine twists, getting that side body stretch, okay? Now take the knees now over to the left. And if your right leg is still crossed over your left, this might feel IT band stretchy. Over to the other side, it might feel glute stretchy, okay? And then just check that you haven't arched the low back or compressed it here. Good. Great. One more big breath here. And then back to middle. Okay, let's switch the way our legs are crossed. So now it's going to be left over right. I'm just doing a little adjustment to my roller so that I can be long in that low spine. And then I'm going to go right to left again, trying to use my obliques to stop myself and support. Try not to use those low back muscles. And then you're going to pause going over to the left and hopefully feeling some stretch along the outside of your right thigh, the bottom leg in this crisscross. Okay. Stay weighted in your shoulder blades. Don't let that right side shoulder blade come up, because then you're kind of scooting away from the stretch. Okay, one more big breath. And now off to the right side, feeling some stretch on the outside of my left thigh again. And this might feel more glute stretch than it does IT band. Thinking of the shoulder blades being nice and stable, your platform that you're stretching from. Okay, one more breath here. And coming back to midline, just going back to conventional tabletop where I'm not crisscrossed in the legs, just normal here. Okay, let's take our legs right, point them straight to the ceiling, back to midline, back to tabletop, left, straighten, center, tabletop. Now are you using your abs? This is an ab exercise we often do just flat on the floor. And our rhythm is from tabletop in center, go right, straighten the legs, center, tabletop, left, straighten, center, tabletop. 2 more sets. And tabletop and left, straighten, center, tabletop. Last set, right, straighten, center, tabletop, left, straighten, center, tabletop. Awesome. Okay, and then to get out of this, your feet can go back on the floor. Try not to arch that low back too strongly or at all is my preference. And then your roller can go out from underneath your low sacrum and out away from everything. Okay, from here, I really like to do some ab curls just so we can get all the good stuff firing. If ab curls are not a good idea for your neck, I'm going to give a modification here in a second. Just start with these guys going up and down. It's a slow pace today, being Sunday stretch. Okay, particularly if you have a difficult case of osteoporosis, your modification will be sitting tall and then leaning back and then coming back to sitting tall. And my hands are under my thighs. I'm going to do that for about 8. And then I'm going to tuck my tailbone and keep that spine straight, just having that pelvic curl going back and forth. Okay? So coming back to the ab curls, let's take that into a twisting ab curl. Okay? And we'll go 10, add the legs if you want to, 9, good Pam, 8, 7, 6, 5, keep going ladies, having a technology issue on this other side here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, really nice place to do some leg circles here, get a little bit more stretch out. If you want some support in that leg circle, you can wrap a towel, a yoga rope, or a TheraBand around your foot. I'm starting on the right side here. Leg goes up to the ceiling, good. And then crosses over midline. I lift the right hip just a wee bit, and then circling out and around, finding some place to pause. I usually pause at the top and circling around. For many of us, this will feel like quite a bit of low back stretch. That's why I'm choosing it for today. My left heel is really stabilizing here. And then my trunk is really, really active so that the hip bone doesn't fly all over the place. All right, I'm gonna take my band off just so you guys can see what that's like. And I'm gonna circle the other direction. As I circle down and over, a little lift of the right hip bone to cross, right hip bone comes down and out and around. And up, 2 more. Quite a bit of ab work. and pause. Okay, bring that knee into chest, hopefully feeling that nice stretch in your posterior chain. One more big breath here. And if you're using a tool, you'll now put the rope, TheraBand, etc. around your left foot, and your right heel is anchoring you. So let's start at the top, cross over, little lift of that left hip bone, out and around. Pause at the top, up and over, hip bone comes down and around. Okay. And one more time here. Good. Okay. That was our fourth one. We've gone both directions. No, wait. We haven't gone both directions. Now we're going to go out and around. As you cross over, a little lift of the left hip bone. Don't let that left hip hike into the rib cage. Good. Two more. Try and keep your knees straight. And last one. Okay. From here, keep stretching that left side out. If you don't have a towel or a prop with you, you can hold on in the back of your calf and see if you can flex your toes to nose. And we're trying to get that stretch along the back line of our legs here. Nice. Big, long, deep breaths here for me. And then I like seeing how that line of pull is through bent elbows and trying to hold through the tricep and into the shoulder shelf. That's awesome. Okay, now slowly take that leg across your midline towards your right side. We're looking for more IT band here. Good. And then some of you know this from my reformer classes, you can point and flex. Don't do that point and flex if you have active sciatica right now. 2 ankle circles in each direction. Good. Okay, then I'm gonna let the band slide down or purposely take it behind my left thigh. And then my right ankle crosses over my left thigh. This is your figure 4. I'm trying to find the glute stretch on my right side. Yeah. Good. You got it. Rest your head and neck if you need to. If you need more stretch, bring the banded leg in and press out on the knee that's crossed over. So for me, that's the right knee, press out, left thigh comes in. Trying to bring my breath into the right side of my lungs here. Good. Okay, and then you're gonna come out of it. Just doing a little check on questions and technology. Okay, and then that band goes back up over your left foot again. And then you start with your hamstring stretch on that right side. Okay. So if you've got that towel, yoga rope or something, it will look something like this. Try and bring that line of toe on the bottom side of your arm. And then flex the toes to nose if you've got that down, and you'll get some calf stretch in there as well. Good. Try a double inhale, exhale breath here. Good. Okay. And then let's take that across our body. So this is my right foot going over to the left side. I find my IT band stretch here. Sometimes you need to take the foot lower than you think to find that stretch. And then keep that right hip bone on the mat. Don't let it come up or else you're escaping the stretch. Inhales and exhales, emphasizing the right side of your lungs here. And then when I'm ready to come out of this, I'm going to take that prop behind my thigh and then cross my left ankle over my right thigh here. Good. And then you can press out on your left knee, pull that band in on your right side, and you'll get more stretch there. Okay, it's a stretch around my backside on my left. I'm trying to emphasize my breath into the left side of my lungs or rib cage here. And then I'll end here with a triple inhale, exhale. Great, good job. Okay, let's keep going. Unpretzel. You can put the TheraBand to the side for a while. I don't think we'll do the foam roller much more from here. If mostly everybody does have a foam roller, in future stretch classes, I can do some, fascia rolling out and all that good stuff. Okay, let's take this into quadruped. So wrists underneath shoulders and knees underneath hips. If this bothers your wrist too much, you can make fists, or you can be on your elbows and find some sort of prop here, coffee table, a very hardy box. First exercise I'd like to do is to take it into sternum drops. Good. So squeezing between the shoulder blades and bring those shoulder blades together, then press the shoulder blades apart and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Back and forth here, thinking of using that shoulder girdle, all those muscles underneath your sports bra. Let's go 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now take this into cat. Nice big back arch here. Always think lengthening. And then cow. And then back to cat. Then cow. Good. So much like those articulated bridges, I'm thinking of moving my vertebrae one by one from all of my abdominal engagement and strength. Last time, pause for me in cow and slide the shoulder blades down the spine a couple of times. Really feel those bottom shoulder blade muscles have to work for it. Okay, next you're gonna take this into tail wag. I'll start with my right ankle. And I'm just looking over my right shoulder. I'm not looking under my armpit. For some of us, our shoulders are wide. You won't see your foot. That's not a big deal here. And then swing that foot and look over it at your left side. And right and left. Seeking that side stretch, stay within a safe range of motion for your body. It's not too big of a stretch. I don't want you encountering pain. I do want you using your obliques and feeling your obliques and your low back stretch, or your whole back. Okay, let's switch it to the left foot, looking over each shoulder at that foot. Good. 2 more times. And working through those obliques. And 1 more time. Okay. From here, there's so many exercises that I love taking you guys into, but that's more of a workout. You could take it into any form of bird dogs. Let's take it into a rest pose here though, or child's pose. In your inhales, try and expand the back line of your ribs up into the ceiling. And then walk your hands over to the left side of your mat. And you'll get to stretch out the right side of your body a bit more here. You can even protrude the right side of your ribs a bit more to get more stretch. Then walk your hands through the middle. Always think of Thing from the Addams Family here. And walk your fingertips over to the left. Nope, sorry, you're walking them over to the right. And you're getting more stretch on the left side of your body. To get more stretch, you can send your left ribs out a bit here. Okay, and then fingertips come back through middle. However you want to transition there, let's go to lying on your stomachs. You can grab a towel and make a little cushion for your forehead. Like so. And then have your hands in your periphery vision by your shoulders, so your elbows will be bent. Good. Okay. On your exhales, pull that belly button up away from the mat. Inhale, relax. Exhale, pull that belly button away from the mat like there's an ice cube underneath the belly button. Okay, adding on, pulling that belly button up and then squeezing the shoulder blades together. I'm lifting my head just so I can watch you guys. Inhale on down, exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale on down. I'm gonna go 6, 5, see if you can feel some stretch in the front of your rib cage, the front of your shoulders and collarbones. This is 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we're gonna do another set that our palms will be down by our hips. Palms face the floor here. Same pattern. Exhale, pull belly to spine and squeeze the shoulders together, which will lift the collarbones a bit off the floor. And we've got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Check that you're still making your belly work really nice and hard. 3, 2, 1. Good. Okay. Hands return to your periphery vision here. So your hands are to the right and left of your shoulders. I'm going to have, you can look up. You may want to see this one first. You're going to exhale, press into your palms, and then come down. We'll do that for 4 reps. And then we're going to add on where we exhale and then lift the palms, lower the body. Okay, so first 4 is inhale, prepare, exhale. Just press into the palms, lifting the chest from the belly button, working so hard. So it's back line of the body and front of the body working together. So pulling that belly button into spine. Think of elongating into this press and lift of the head. And get taller and longer as you lift up. Okay, we're not going to lift as far, but we're going to exhale, lift up, lift the palms, lower the palms, come on back down. Let's do that 6 more times. Press into the palms, slight lift of the chest, now lift the palms. Good. Keep going here. Exhale, press into the mat, lift, now lift the palms. Okay, and down, and exhale, in, lift the palms, good. Okay, and I'll emulate the next one. Exhale, press in, lift, and lift the palms. Good, everything comes down. This will be 3, and down, and 2, and 1. Okay. This will be new for most of you. We're going to lift up just a little bit, even smaller, and then bring our palms up. Stretch our hands over our heads. And now bring that right palm down to your hip and look down towards that hand. Maybe feel a little side stretch, but a lot of back line of the body engagement. Hands come overhead. Let's repeat to the left side. That left hand's come down to my hip. I'm trying to look at the left hand. Good. Keep breathing and pulling that belly to spine. And now we go right.
Is the top hand up in the air or on ground?
Both hands are hovering above the ground. And one hand is overhead and one hand is down by the hip.
Right.
The hand you're looking at. We're going 2 more sets. So now it's my right hand down by my hip and my left stretching up, looking at my right hand. Both go overhead, looking at that left hand down by my hip. 1 more set. Right hand, look at that right hand. Overhead, left hand down by that hip and looking and overhead. Awesome. Okay, press your palms into the mat above your head and lift into swan, wherever that is for you. Slide those shoulder blades down and grow really tall over the top of your head or out the top of your head here, pulling that belly to spine and lowering, stretching out the abs a bit here. Down, lifting shoulder blades down the spine, elongating the spine, stretching out the head. How are we looking? 2 more times. Good. Looks nice, Elizabeth. And stretch. Good. And 1 more time. Good. Okay. From here, you can make your way to side lying to come on up. However, it's safe in that you're not going to yank on your neck. If you have a foam roller nearby, I'm going to say grab it again, but you don't have to have it. We're going to go into mermaid here. And I'm sitting with my feet off to my right side. Okay, and then if you have that foam roller, your left palm can be rolling on the side of it. Okay, and I'm just going to go into mermaid from here. If you don't have a roller, this is what it looks like. Okay, and then really activate through that bottom line to come on up, that bottom side line. Good. Breathe into the right side of your body here, stretching. Reach that right hand to the opposite side of the room. And then nice and tall. And stretch, stretch, stretch. And then nice and tall. Okay. I'm going to add on here, give you some rotation, widening that bottom hand and rotating the rib cage towards the floor. Both hands can be on the floor, the foam roller. And you're really activating in that belly to bring the roller or your hands in. Just toggling back and forth here in that ab work of stretching out the back line of your body. And here. Really nice way to stretch out different pieces of the shoulder blades. I'm going to bring it all the way in and switch over to the other side here. Same with that Z set. Out we'll go. So I'm really in my lateral plane here. I'm not at all folded forward or looking up, just very sideways. And then using that bottom side of my obliques here, my right side, to really bring myself in safely, stretching out the spine, but not using too many of the low back muscles, the QLs. Okay, I'm going to take this into a little bit of rotation now. My hands will widen, and then spine curve or flex as you come in. Careful not to flatten out and arch the other way. No spinal extension, we're working flexion here. Last one. Good. And then coming back on in. Send that roller away if you have one. And then you'll sit nice and tall on your mat here. Your feet can be shoulder distance apart or mat distance apart. And let's take this into spine stretch forward. So picturing like a wine barrel or a big beach ball right here. Start with your pelvis in neutral, which might mean you need to bend your knees. And neutral here will feel like both sit bones are 90 degrees into the mat. I don't want you feeling like you're tucked on your tailbone back here. So if you can't get there with straight knees, then bend those knees and you'll be bringing your belly button forward. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, reach up and over that pretend beach ball. And then come to sitting really nice and tall for me. And exhale, reach up and over. 2 more times. And 1 more time. So that should feel like a whole stretch along your posterior chain, maybe all the way up to your neck, all the way down to your Achilles here. Okay, and then let's go back to a spine twist-like motion. So you're gonna exhale, twist that spine, pulse twice. Head's just on top of your shoulders along for the ride here. Inhale through middle, exhale, pulse twice. We're going for a total of 4 sets, which is 8 reps. Try not to let your shoulders slide forward and make this about the spine twisting and the rib cage twisting on that spinal axis. I'm going to do 1 more set. Good. Okay, and then this next exercise is called saw. So I go into my spine twist, and then I reach one hand to the outside of the opposite foot. So twist. This is my right hand going to the outside of my left foot, and it's like it's sawing off that pinky toe. And that back hand is just behind me here, reaching. And reaching. Like your hands are reaching out in opposite directions here. Still using that tummy Reaching up and over, pretend ball. Okay, and we'll just do one more to each side. Good. And then coming back through middle here. I want to stretch out our hip flexors here. I never know how, if you're on a hardwood floor or if you don't have much padding under your carpet, so I recommend having a hand towel nearby. And you'll take that hand towel and let's put it under your right knee, okay? And then you're stabilizing on your left foot. If this looks like it's going to be a balance challenge, what I'm doing, adjust yourself so you're next to a coffee table or a wall so that you can grab onto that and stabilize. So I'm starting here, my hips are square, they're pretty level. I'm not hiked on either side. And then I'm going to take my frame forward and find the stretch in the front of that right thigh. Yeah. Okay, if you're feeling like, yeah, I got my balance here, all is well, you're going to lift your right hand up to the ceiling. Careful you're not arched in the low back or compressing. If so, maybe bring your frame a little bit forward and activate in your front abdominals. And then you can lift up the left arm as well. You stretch the hands up and out of your shoulders here. And then slowly and carefully bring your hands down. And I'm going to turn a little bit to my right and open up my right inner thigh. So the inner thigh is facing more of the floor. And I'll get more of like a inner thigh and groin stretch here. Yeah. See if you can find that without feeling like you're jamming up your hip. You want to feel like you're lengthening the femur out of the hip socket a bit here. In a safe way, not an exaggerated way. Okay. 2 more long breaths. And then bring that knee more back to center to get out of this one so you don't have any weirdness or discomfort. And then slowly come out of it. And now we'll readjust our pad and everything to be under that left knee. Right foot is your stabilizer. Pre-plan for anything you need to balance and hold on to. And then you come up to this lunge kneeling position. You square off your hips. Particularly this right side is going to want to hike. You work through that. Careful you're not compressing in the low back. And then find that stretch in the front of your left thigh and hip. Okay. If you feel like you can balance, lift that left arm up to the ceiling. Okay, again, a little check on the low back, and then the right arm. Might get you some shoulder stretch and psoas stretch here. For me, this is a lot of work on my front right foot. So if you're feeling like your arch cramp or something, that's okay here. Okay, and then slowly those hands come down to support you. So I'm bringing them down to the floor. And then I'm going to turn that left knee outside a little bit. So more my inner thigh is pointing towards the ground, trying to find that inner thigh stretch here. And I want you to think of lengthening the femur out of the hip socket, not jamming it in there. Great, okay. And then slowly bring that knee back to a more neutral position. And then you'll come out of this guy. Where I would really like to end here today is stretching out the calves a bit more. And there's a couple ways we can do that. If you have a wedge, a foam wedge or something, it's a great time to grab it. And if you have slippery socks on, probably a good time to take them off. If you have your grip socks on, feel free to leave those on. Sorry guys, we keep losing the Instagram feed here. Okay. And then if you have a wedge, this is all much more simple. So on your wedge, this is just your stretch. And I'm cheating, I'm holding on to something so that I don't fall over. And that's your calf stretch. If you don't have a wedge, then let's put the right foot back and right heel is down. And then a little bit bent into that left knee, and my back leg, my right leg is straight. I'm feeling quite an Achilles and heel stretch here. Good. Okay, and then Elizabeth, I think I see you on the wedge. You can start to bend your knees and straighten over your first and second toe. The rest of us are just gonna bend that back knee, the right knee, just a little bit. And again, over the first and second toe, not into your midline. Yeah, and really go for that straight knee and then a bit of a bend. Not so much of a knee bend that your heel comes off. Good. And my hip bones are even. Okay. And then come back to middle. And now we'll put the left heel back. That heel is completely on the floor and my foot is straight forward. It's going to be tempting to turn that heel in and really check it with your eyes, because what your body tells you is your foot straight forward oftentimes isn't. And then hold it another breath or two. If you're on the wedge, you can take your feet over to your toes pointing over to the right. And then once you feel that stretch there for a breath or two, then you'll start to bend and straighten the knee. For those of us doing the lunge, you're just going to bend that back knee, the left knee here, over the first and second toe. So it's not taking the whole frame forward, but just that tiny little knee bend. And I'm cheating a little bit, but my heel should not be coming up. And it might feel awkward to bend the knee in alignment, but just work on where it's possible and coordination for you. Good. Okay. And then come on up more to standing. If you're on the wedge, now take your toes to the left and repeat the exercise over there. Yeah, your feet may feel like, I've kind of worked here. That's a good thing. Okay, it is almost 5 o'clock. I'm gonna have us end with where we always start, which is hip distance apart, standing tall, and then going into our standing roll down. So chin nod, tucking the tailbone, activating the abs, letting the head and neck drop, and really curving through the spine. Pausing down here at the bottom and taking a little inventory where you still might have some tightness. And then if you're closer to the floor, which would be awesome, and that's my hope. But where you feel that residual tightness, maybe it's worth spending a couple more minutes repeating a stretch or doing it again after, right before bed. When you're ready to come up, pelvic curl, and then curl that spine until you're fully stacked up on top of your hips here. Yeah. If you guys are feeling anything in particular in your bodies, you're welcome to unmute and ask me any kind of questions. I'm sorry the Instagram feed was so spotty most of the time. You can always catch me on Zoom if that's an easier way to log in. So tomorrow I have a 9 o'clock class. There's pretty much a 9 o'clock class every Monday through Friday. And then I added on 2 6:30 classes as well, 6:30 in the morning. And then keep asking me for any kind of classes you want. I think I'm gonna add in 30 minutes of cardio at some point throughout the week. And we'll see how that goes. And
What would that look like? Would that be just standing and running?
yeah, standing and running. I think it'll be focused on some bar work that I've been doing a lot of continuing education. And then it might be some planks and like mountain climbers within planks. And one other, just some weight bearing, you know, if you have a 1 to 3 pound weight, I'm going to bring that into anything that we can do standing. I try to, because that's just great for bone health and building bone mass. So if it turns out that it needs to be at 2 different levels of cardio, great. We'll evolve it. We'll split it up. All that kind of good stuff.
Great.
All right. Well, have a good Sunday evening, everyone. Know I'm here if you need anything.
Thank you very much.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome.
Stay healthy.